How's it going, guys? Today I wanted to talk about my own personal wish list for the upcoming Grand Theft Auto 6. Now this is a wish list going to be concentrated on the Grand Theft Auto 6 single player, the campaign, that wise. Regarding the online, that's going to be a totally different story, and in fact I will be making continuation, like a second parter video, all to do with the Grand Theft Auto 6 Online later on. Links will be down below in the description as soon as that video will be live. Now, let's begin, and I'm not going to waste more of your time as well. So, my number one, I would actually argue to say this is, everybody wants this, I'm sure. Now, I'm going to be easygoing, and then I'm going to, wrap things up pretty heavily as well, and maybe some things that might not even be into fruition. Alright, so controls and the improvements to them. Obviously, the responsiveness needs to be updated significantly. Grand Theft Auto 5 wasn't as much of a bad or a big deal personally for me anyway, and how I felt the controls wise anyway. But Red Dead Redemption 2, now that was a major concern about, I personally thought. It's very difficult to shoot, a lot of people criticized it as well. Like, shooting is not the problem, the controlling and, especially on the consoles, was the main problem. And I think they need to update their controls significantly, make it more responsive, up to the likes like they had a game, Max Payne 3. Max Payne 3 on a console, on the PlayStation 3 anyway. It felt good to use the controls on. If you guys have not experienced it, basically, how can I say, it's as responsive as like Call of Duty, like that, they have extremely responsive controls, right? You move it a tight bit and you actually move the character and it feels good. So that's what's the biggest thing, and I want to almost maybe somewhat of similar scale, almost there at least, to have similar effectiveness and the improvements. This is the significant, wise thing that it simply needs to be, and it needs to be implemented to this next Grand Theft Auto 6. Now, this is the obvious fact. Let's just get into the second thing. I wanted to talk about regarding of the map, right? Now, it will be pretty cool. I cannot deny this. It will be bloody cool if we could have, say, maybe 2 to 3 different varieties of maps. As an example, let's say we have Los Santos making a return. You also have Vice City, a little bit smaller, and Liberty City, obviously New York based. And now, how you will be able to explore those cities is by having a workable airport, maybe something as well, workable bus station, not like a bus stop that you can go, but bus station, because if you want to go further down to a different city completely. And also, obviously, the ports and the ships that you can go get on. And maybe if you want to look around, or if you want to, you can just skip it if you would like to. Now, and you will get a choice where you want to go to Vice City or the Liberty City. Obviously, there needs some kind of progression through, and somehow you will be unlocking it as well. Obviously, it would not make much sense for you to perhaps swim over there. That would be crazy. But you can indeed drive there, whichever way you want. But obviously, it will take a little while. Now, I'm not telling you, I'm not saying this, okay? I want you to understand this. Just deserts, nothing in the middle of the road, and we're just trying to make our way to Liberty City, as an example. No, that would be dumb. I personally think it would be nice to have, while you're going there, some smaller towns, not as cities, because that would not make sense, but smaller towns, back to back, not too much of the deserted places. Don't make it like a real US 1-to-1 scale. That would be insane. 24 hours to drive to a different city. As an example, let's say from Los Santos, California to New York. That's days and days it can take, maybe even months at some points. That basically takes like a long time for you to go to point A to point B. And so don't make it varieties of exploration. If you want to make a significance, for example, of you feeling that you need to drive to a different city, but it takes a while, you have to have that feeling. It's important. I personally think so. Now, this is also, I'm not too sure if they will be able to pull it off. Have you ever noticed in any Grand Theft Auto game, except I think Grand Theft Auto 4 maybe? I'm not too sure, but basically we can't really go inside the buildings, or there's just not enough of these interior designs, interior entrances into the buildings. I want far more than any Grand Theft Auto have ever done. Far more. And on top of that, not just one story tall, it needs to have a variety of, like, say, a skyscraper that needs to have like five stories at least. Now that's if you want to go even higher up to the tallest buildings, right? You just get a lift, an elevator, you automatically go up. as an example, and you end up being at the very top floor. You get to explore extra like 3 stories or whatever, right? Grand Theft Auto 5 already had this sort of aspect, but not in a lot of varieties of buildings. I think there's only maybe, what is it, like 2 or 3 maybe even 1 only skyscrapers that had this opportunity for you to do. It was quite important. Like, remember also what I mentioned, the workable airports? For real, for love of God, let us enter the airport inside the airport. That's important. And get on the plane with your own choosing. For example, wherever you want to go, where there's the next airport, big or small, depends on the plane size. It's the same thing that I personally think needs to be done as the bus stations, that you will be able to enter and get to, let's say you want to go on that specific bus. Maybe there could be buses up to 2 stories tall, and they will be able to go like further down the road or whatnot. And so basically you choose what number of that bus. You have to figure out what number is that specific bus will be able to go to, what city, to what bus stop. There are little things like that. And obviously if you want to, you have your phone, trusty phone. You can check out all on the internet and see which number of the bus goes to where. And if you don't want to do that, obviously at the bus stop, bus station, you will be able to see all those signs and signals, and on the walls, for example, or digital monitoring as well, like we have right now. So you will be able to see, and whichever bus you want to go, you pay a small fee, and then you go whatever you like. Maybe that could be a fast travel opportunity for the next Grand Theft Auto 6. Now also, Uber drivers, taxi drivers, that's necessary as well, absolutely. Because I noticed in Grand Theft Auto 5, I rarely ever in fact, like call an Uber driver and just so it picks me up and delivers me whatever I want. And that's the problem. I thought that maybe it's not a problem for many. Personally, for me, I like the Uber driver in Grand Theft Auto 4 far more. You whistle to the guy, he stops. Well, of course, if he's free, you get to choose of your own choice. Basically, wherever you want to go, you can go there. Put a waypoint on the map, and you tell him where to go. And he just goes there. If you want to skip, you pay a little more money, and then somewhere in that close vicinity of that area, he will stop and he'll let you off. That's awesome. I personally thought that was a unique touch. Grand Theft Auto 5 actually has the same premise. Don't get me wrong, but I notice I don't use it as often. Now, New York and also California, there are different cities, and there are different taxis. In the Liberty City, obviously New York, there's far more taxis than in California, and because the city is so much more robust and dense, and you always find those yellow taxis all over the place. So that made sense. But I would like to see this in different continents, maybe different cities. I do know that the Liberty City, it's not a city, okay? It's a state. I get that. I'm just trying to I'm explaining it like this, just for people to understand a little bit easier. Like, we have plenty of people that are not from America, and yet they don't know that Liberty City, or I should say New York City, it's not really a city, it's more of a state. Like California, it's not really a city, it's more of a state, blah, 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 that sort of thing, right? Anyway, that's not important. The other thing I wanted to mention, let's say in Liberty City, you'll find those yellow taxis. Let's say in the Los Santos, you'll find different taxis, different variations, different colors. And obviously, that would be quite important. Vice City as well, there could be different varieties of taxis once again, and denser areas, denser places, different, just different varieties anyway. And one last thing about the maps I wanted to mention, make it more vertical than horizontal. Do you understand what I mean? Basically, it's a good premise actually understanding this, because in Cyberpunk 2077, the map isn't gigantic, but because Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red, were developing it to be more vertical. And that's the thing. Now, obviously, that made sense for the futuristic approach, because, buildings will be growing up, not horizontal, because there's no space, no more anyway. But as well, in Grand Theft Auto, I think they should, concentrate more on the vertical slices of their building of the world map. Now, I understand this is just a dream, it most likely will not happen, but this is my wish list, so my opinion, guys. Now, if you want to, if they don't want to, let's say those take old datas, old maps, and refurbish them and make them newer versions and make there some kind of adjustments and gather them all into the next game, and let's say maybe they want to make a completely new approach. Okay, fine, that's fine. Okay, but this time, how about don't bother with America at all? How about go to Australia? How about go to somewhere in Europe? Well, not London, because I think actually Grand Theft Auto already made a London setting. And I think there's some difficulties that they were having with law and stuff. The same goes for Tokyo, by the way, guys, if you did not know. I heard about that as well. So Tokyo and Asia more or less might be out of the question. London may be out of the question as well. And I'm not too sure about that, but still, I don't really want to see London, I think, because Watch Dogs is, going to be in London premise anyway. America, we have plenty of that, I personally think so. Maybe go somewhere in different places in Europe, go Germany, go, France, Jesus, Barcelona as an example. It would be cool. Hell, go Russia. Moscow, how's that? Wow, that would be insane. But still. Now, if they don't want to go with that approach, how about just go with, not to 1-1 scale, that would be insane, a full America. How about that? United States, whole United States, but not 1-to-1 scale again. Same approach that Crew 2 did it. If you did not notice, the whole map is actually United States. In the Crew 2, if you guys did not know, it's not 1-to-1 scale again. And so basically it's not going to take you like 24 hours to get to point A to point B. So that would be pretty cool, I personally think, in Grand Theft Auto 6. Maybe something like that. And obviously if you want to go to different cities, but then what would this mean? Yes, they will need plenty of different varieties of cities. But as well, I think it's manageable at this point. And so, for next generation consoles and the PC. Anyway, wow, I stayed on this topic for way too long. Let's continue. Better graphics is my number 3. Better graphics, including, this is a necessity for fuck's sake, minimum 60 FPS. That is the minimum. Frames per second needs to be 60. Don't go any lower than that. 30 FPS I think is already unacceptable for the next generation of some consoles I'm talking about now specifically. I do understand and I already do know that PlayStation 4 Pro even can't handle it, nor can the Xbox One X. But the next versions of, newer gen consoles, I'm sure they will be able to handle it. If not, for love of God, make it uncapped or something. But make sure they just does not go lower than 60 FPS. If it still goes lower than 60, oh, for love of God, that would suck, you know what I mean? Maybe do anything that you can just to make sure it's 60 FPS. I'm sure it will be manageable. Man, because consoles will be far more powerful. That's my most necessary thing. What I mentioned as well about the better graphics, if you guys did not notice, Rockstar tend to create their games, especially the faces of the characters, they tend to age pretty badly. Now, I guarantee this one thing. After 10 years, those characters from Grand Theft 5, like Trevor, Michael, as an example, they're not gonna look as good as you think. But a lot of other games like God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, their faces, the animations and how they've been developed, they have a very long-lasting, and they age very well, basically, and they look for a very long time phenomenal. Rockstar games, it's weird. Grand Theft 4, if you look at it now, like Nico Bellic looks, what is that? Looks really, really bad into the comparison, I mean. But still, it's just my opinion again, guys. All right, well, let's go a little bit, more realistic approach. Maybe. My number 4 is more customization. That's, of course, including for your houses, well, obviously the decision that you make to purchase a house or an apartment. And also, the customization, this is quite important. Customization, I'm talking about interior design and also exterior design. This does not mean just colors. I'm talking about the style. I'm talking about the architecture. I'm talking about the way you want to place your furniture. You have that decision. You're the one making those adjustments if you like to. If you want to make, let's say you want to purchase a sofa that you really love, you go on your phone, purchase it quickly, or on your laptop, and then a couple of days later it arrives right in front of your doorstep. If you want to, you can watch how the men come in and they adjust everything that you want them to do. Or maybe you could do that for yourself, as an example. If that's too much, if that's not manageable, well, let's say magically you purchase it, you did purchase it, and then let's say as a 3D printer, more or less, you could actually place it right there, and after a few days, the sofa is actually there, as an example. Still, do you think it would be possible? I think it would be pretty awesome. Anyway, if we continue, I'm gonna be talking about this because I'm surprised why Grand Theft 5 did not really have that. The single player I'm talking about. Casino. I'm talking about, obviously, the gambling, tournaments. tournaments, not just simply gambling, not just simply playing. I understand there's going to be a lot of problems with this and might be difficulties of implementing it, you know, laws and stuff, money, but we are not talking about real life money. We're talking about in-game money. And I personally want to play like blackjack, I want to play poker, I want to play some card games, I want to play those sort of stuff as well. And for the entertainment purposes as well. Bowlings, why not? Bowling would be freaking fantastic to bring that back. Grand Theft 4 had it, why not bring it back into the Grand Theft 6? As an example. And make sure to have like as an Easter egg, you know, Roman Bellic, hey Nico, do you want to go for bowling? I don't know, it's just somewhere there making an Easter egg or something, it would be interesting.
Nico, it's Roman. Let's go bowling.
And you know, that would be pretty damn cool. I would love that. When I'm talking about tournaments, guys, I also want to mention that this actually goes nicely with my next point, number 6, is more robust stocks. I love the idea of stocks in Grand Theft 5. Now, you can invest the money, for example, and gain, of course, money back. You can lose the money back. And of course, all of it depends on what you do next for that specific mission. Let's say you obliterate specific stocks for that specific company because it plumbers, but you know that after a few days, after a few months, that stock is going to go rising sky high. But as well, you made the purchase, so you're going to gain your money back up. And so that's awesome. Grand Theft 5 had that in single player. It really works like a charm. But now, if you have a casino, let's say you purchase a bunch of stocks for the casino, you're making bonuses, and maybe you do some kind of random shootouts right outside the casino, you're losing those stocks because less people will be approaching to the casino. And maybe you purchase that casino for yourself as a stocks I'm talking about. After a few days, obviously, it's going to get its reputation back up. And maybe you do something, maybe those attractions, maybe your celebrities could be coming into your casino. You see, this is my insane ideas I'm bringing into this game. I don't know if this is manageable, I don't know if it's possible, doable, but man, I would love to see something like that. So I'm not gonna continue, let's continue the next point. Story fucking DLC. And please, for love of God, come on, Grand Theft 5. Anyway, that's also, I'm talking about, you know, let's go crazy. Let's include those maps that I mentioned. If, let's say, Liberty City does not make an appearance, let's say for the DLC, Liberty City makes an appearance, or at least some kind of variety into it. Make a remastered version, make it more beautiful, more colorful, and make a little bit of adjustments in there and there, you know, anywhere. You know, I don't think it will be that too typically hard, but obviously it will be difficult. I'm not denying that. But just an idea. Now, story DLCs I'm talking about, maybe introduce new characters, I don't know. New characters, oh god, I'm gonna get into that. That will be my last point as well. Okay, if we continue, this is a little bit interesting one. I'm sure actually Rockstar will be able to implement this. In fact, I'm sure they're already making it. More sport varieties, more sport plays. Now, bring back tennis, bring back darts, bring back golf. Actually, golf was very good. I like golf in the Grand Theft 5 as a single player. That's also including, I want to see football. I want to see basketball. How's that? Wouldn't that be cool? Maybe go with rugby as well. Wow, that would be freaking cool. And hockey, ice hockey, for example. And of course. So of course, let's include as well like bungee jumping, maybe rope walking without any safety, and as well maybe hang gliding or something like that. I think actually, thinking about it now, hang gliding would actually definitely work in a Grand Theft Auto game. Like to your own liking, to your experience racing as well while using gliding, that would be cool. Rope walking, let's say maybe without any safety, you don't have any rope attached to you. If you fall, if you lose the balance, like there has to be some little bit of mini game in there. Then yeah, you're doomed. You're doomed for real. Now maybe sometimes if you okay, of course, at first you will start up, let's say, with a parachute. Maybe you have a rope connected to you and the rope that you are walking on. So for the safety reasons, once again. But then, if you feel more braver, if you want to get more achievements, more money, then you go completely in a dangerous route, and so you have no safety precautions. I don't know, just an idea, you know? Now, I don't know if this is... I don't know if people will agree with me with this one. My number 9 is actually only release Grand Theft Auto 6 on the next generations of consoles and PC. That's it. Don't bother with PlayStation 4, don't bother with Xbox One, don't bother with an Xbox One X, and don't bother with PlayStation 4 Pro. I'm talking about specifically Project Scarlet, PlayStation 5, and the PC fellas out there. Why? Okay, I'll be realistic. I don't want Rockstar to put more time and effort just so they need to, backstep and downgrade their game so they will be able to implement it into the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One as an example. And the only reason as well, it's gonna take more time. I don't really want that. And what worries me as well, it might be that they needed to downgrade the game so it will play on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, but Xbox Scarlet and also the PlayStation 5 are just fine, and they're doing just fine. And in fact, they're not using a full capacity for those consoles. And that's what worries me, and I don't want to see that approach. That's the only reason why I'm going to mention it. Now, I understand, again, this is just my opinion. Maybe they'll make it that way, maybe they will not, who knows. And my last point. Okay, might actually get me in trouble, but I'm gonna have to talk about it. I'm sorry, guys. Basically, this is regarding of a female main character. I do believe that Grand Theft Auto 6 will reintroduce a bunch of characters that you will be able to play as, just similar as it was done in Grand Theft Auto 5, and I thought that was fantastic. I don't know about female characters in there, because maybe just introduce one female character and the two will be the guys, and obviously you get to choose, you get to go whoever you want to play as. Now, I don't think it's a problem that if I would be able to play as a female character, okay? I don't have any gripes with them, it's fine, it's perfectly acceptable. But I'm worried that Rockstar are being forced into take that decision because so many games are doing this now, Gears of War now doing it, what's it called, Wolfenstein as well. They're taking an approach from a strong male character and going into a completely different direction with a female. I'm not saying they're weak, for love of God. I'm saying there are strong females out there as well. But still, making from a male to a female, it just doesn't make much sense, especially if in the establishment that it's already talked about, since it's all about the male. If you have a brand new IP and it's all about concentrating on a female, like Control, about the female, Horizon Zero Dawn, about the female, love those games. I'd love to see more. And that's fine. I would play them. I don't care about that. It's perfectly acceptable. But I don't want to see a franchise being forced into implementing a female character. It just simply does not work. At least not for me. And at least I don't want to see that. And that's the thing as well. I want to see, if they have to, if they want to, not being forced, but if they want to, that's fine. Implement at least one female character into a main protagonist. Yeah, I almost messed up the word. And that would be just fun, and I personally think might be acceptable. And if that's the way they wanted to go about it. I mean, that would be actually kind of freaking awkward, wouldn't it? Like a female protagonist is in love with a male protagonist and you play as a boyfriend or a girlfriend, but then one of them dies and then maybe the other dies, or they have a choice to make, a decision to kill each one, or either one, and maybe they kill their best friend, that's another protagonist. Wow, it just, oh my god, let's go with the triangle, a love triangle? Oh my god. Two guys are in love with this one girl and you play as all of them, and then you make your own decision if you, okay. I'm gonna shut up now, this is just getting out of hand. That would be actually kind of interesting, we're fucked up in some ways, but whatever. Oh wow. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. Tell me down in the comments what is your top 10 wish list for the Grand Theft Auto 6 single player now. I'm thinking about making it an online version of it as well, but I'm gonna start up as soon as I can. But anyway, thank you again, have an awesome day, like and subscribe, see you guys all, and have a good one again.